Okay, so I start meeting the students, doing the introductory course classes, and uh, yeah. So I go to two. There's two school locations. One school is north, and one school is central Jakarta. So I was supposed to be teaching at the northern school, which is maybe like a 5-minute walk from my house, uh, twice a week. The rest of the week, I'm supposed to be teaching in central Jakarta. Well, we went to the central Jakarta location, and I was really surprised because my motion sickness was like very strong. I mean, like I said, it doesn't happen all the time, when I'm in the States and everything, but it was like every day I was experiencing like very serious motion sickness. And then there were like all these mosquitoes. I mean, there's a lot of mosquitoes here, period. I mean, it's a Mediterranean, well, not Mediterranean, but it's near the equator. It's a very warm, humid climate. We're in the dry season, so I don't even know what the wet season's going to be like, Lord. But I will say this: the school had this like little, I guess you could say like it was like a little creek or something of like some dirty, stagnant, disgusting water, and it was like all these mosquitoes were just like infesting the area, and they would keep the door open at the school. I'm like, why don't you guys shut the darn door, so the mosquitoes don't come in? So of course they're like, hey, who's the new girl right here? So then I'm just getting like tore up, by these mosquitoes. So that was like a whole other thing. My foot, my right foot my ankle started to like swell up. This happened one other time when I was in Brazil and I was in the like the Amazon or like the rainforest or whatever. And, when I got back, it was like the same thing. I think they just like, the mosquitoes know, they smell that fresh blood and meat, different from, what they're normally accustomed to. So it's like they come after you. And I wasn't really like wearing my mosquito repellent, every day at that time. So, I had all these mosquito bites. I was doing my best, not to scratch them or anything and, put stuff on them. So, of course, it's like you're in this foreign country and you hear all of these like, watch out for this mosquito, watch out for that, this virus, these vaccinations. There's like a vaccination for everything. And you got to be very careful about vaccinations because vaccinations can make you sick and they have like a lot of like terrible things in them. So anyway, there was like this new vaccination for some type of mosquito. It's not a common, vaccination, but of course I didn't get it because it wasn't like on the must-have list and everything. And last time I got a vaccination before I went to China, the vaccination made me very sick and it ruined the whole trip. And I actually ended up in the ER back in the States. I mean, everything turned out fine, but it wasn't anything that happened overseas. It was that vaccination. So I didn't get it. So my foot is like, my ankle is swelling now. So I'm freaking out. And so about a day or two passed and I was asking him like, is this normal? Like I emailed him like, is this normal? My foot, swelling up, and no reply. Kind of weird. So then my foot did start to go down. I think it was just like I did research online and it's like sometimes you have that reaction to mosquitoes. Then like a day or two later, he's going to ask me like, oh yeah, your foot. Yeah, you should probably look that up. Like not caring, not like, oh my God, let me see it. Or like, did you try this? Nothing. So I go on to, do these introductory courses. Then I noticed that where are the teachers? It's just him, okay? There's one other teacher. I'll call her Shelly. There's one other teacher, and her name is Shelly, and he's like pumping her up, like, oh yeah, Shelly. She's from here, from Indonesia, but she was schooled in Australia. She was schooled in Australia. Very smart, and oh yeah, and it was very strange because it's like he was trying to like pit me and this teacher against each other. And I just thought it was so bizarre because I'm like, there's only 3 of us here and you're like literally the principal, the administrator, the teacher, the janitor, whatever. I mean, you're everything. And here you have this like extremely competent person that can teach as well as like do all these other things. And then you have this other great woman too. So it's like, why not like pull together as a team, and see how we can make this work? Again, the way I'm thinking, like as an attorney and just as like a business person and person into branding, I'm getting like all these ideas. I'm like, oh wow, maybe that's why I was brought here. I'm not, brought here just to like teach. I'm coming here to help him like consult and build his business. I had ideas for branding, I had ideas for a blog, I had ideas to build a website, I had ideas to like decorate the school, I mean, ways to engage like the community, the parent. I mean, I was so excited. I'm like, oh wow, this is great. Like this is going to be such an interesting project and everything. So then he starts slowly kind of working in opportunity. He kept calling them opportunities for me to teach. Okay, really, what it turned into is that next thing you know, it's like I'm teaching full time. And in all fairness, I mean, I love the students and they were so cool, and I really like was just very natural at teaching, and I could see I could help them and everything. And I was learning so much from the students too. They're all from Korea, but they, either were from there, moved to Indonesia, or live in Indonesia. So I was just really, I mean, we were vibing. I mean, it was great. I was having a great time. So it's like I kind of got lost in that and like their energy and just kind of like feeding off of them and, everything else. And so I would wake up excited every day, to go into the classroom. But then I would notice that, let's say I had to teach from like, let's say from 5 to 9 p.m. Usually it's like an hour-long classes, okay? 5 to 9 p.m. Okay, usually teachers come in maybe an hour before and they prepare their lesson, so maybe I would, be there from 4 to 9. Well, I would notice he would want me to like meet him at 8:30 in the morning and then ride with him to the central location. And then I would be sitting there all day doing nothing or just doing a tiny bit, and then, have to teach from 5 to 9. So this happened a few times. He would throw in a little complimentary lunch, or something. But after a while, I'm like, what's going on here? This is kind of weird. Like, why are you trying to take up all my time? Or like he would say, oh, can you meet me at like 1:30? And then we'll like have a meeting, and then you can have time to rest, and then you can come back at 5. Like it was just very odd because it's like I still, had things I wanted to do. So this went on for a little while. Then in conversation with him, I noticed he would always tell these stories about how like somebody thought he was a liar. Somebody thought he was a bad person. Somebody did something and he's going to sue them. He could take them to court. I mean, it was like it was like 2 landlords that he talked about. The parents of the school, a vendor, it was just like everybody, it was like he was always the nice guy, like in the right. Everybody else was out to get him and lying and trying to ruin his reputation. And in the end, it was like he could always like sue someone. So I'm like, no. He's like telling me everything I need to know about him. He is the liar. He tries to sue everyone, and he's the one who is doing something, that's like bringing on this energy, So I did really start to become concerned. It's just kind of like, what is really going on here, So I did make some allies, and I think that's like so important for you to do. And, meanwhile, I did know a few people on the ground here, and they kept telling me like, hey, why don't you come out for dinner? Hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And so then I started to try and like branch out. This is maybe like into my 2nd week, and I tried to branch out, and start connecting with people here. And boy, SKB did not like that.